Why are these orphans rejoicing? Because gifts to the Dorms for Orphanages Fund of Heaven's Family have provided them with new homes. Well, it's great to be back together again as we continue our chronological study through the entire New Testament. And I hope that you've got your Bible close by and you can find Matthew chapter 7, because we're going back into the heart of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And it's been a wonderful journey all the way through chapter 5 and chapter 6 of Matthew. And we're now in Matthew 7 and verse number 7. Today's topic is the topic of prayer. And we're going to try to uncover some things that Jesus says about prayer in this section, Matthew 7:7 down through verse number 11. Hopefully answer some questions you might have about this very passage that I'm sure you've read many times before. So let's read it again and think about it and see what we can learn. Matthew 7, verse 7, Jesus said, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. Or what man is there among you who, when his son asks for a loaf, will give him a stone?" Well, there, the answer to that rhetorical question is that there is no man among them. And verse number 10, "Or if he asks for a fish, he will not give him a snake, will he?" Again, another rhetorical question. Verse 11, "If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give what is good to those who ask him?" All right, so the overriding general feeling you get when you read these 5 verses is that, wow, this is an incredible encouragement on the part of Jesus for his disciples to pray and particularly to ask for something or some things, and because it's full of all these positive statements, that are just, faith inspiring. The first thing is, ask and it will be given to you. That's pretty positive, wouldn't you say? He didn't say ask and it might, ask and it will. The next one, seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. There's 3 positive statements affirming that you're going to get what you want in one verse. And then in verse number 8, everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds, and who knocks it will be. So there's 3 more very positive encouragements. And then, of course, the 2 rhetorical questions, they're very positive in kind of a reverse way, but they're definitely positive. You get what you ask for. What the son asks his father for, that's what he gets. And then the final one, goodness, if you being evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give what is good? This is like, I'm going to say almost unbelievably encouraging when it comes to prayer. And so obviously, if we get nothing else from this passage, Jesus was trying to encourage his disciples to come to God in prayer with expectation that he wanted to and he would answer their prayers. Okay? So if you got nothing else from this, that would be great, wouldn't it? Just meditating on those 5 verses, thinking about them before you pray, or reading them before you pray, has got to give you encouragement and build your faith, right? And we know that faith is indeed a key ingredient when it comes to getting our prayers answered. Jesus said in numerous occasions, telling people, your faith has healed you. Your faith has saved you, indicating that if those people who were saved or healed in those instances had not had faith, they would not have been saved or they would not have been healed, because Jesus credited their faith. And Jesus said things like in Matthew 21:22, everything you ask in prayer, believing you shall receive. And he said in Mark 11, everything you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it or them, and they shall be given to you. All right, so nobody can discount the fact that faith is, if not the key ingredient, one of the most important ingredients to getting our prayers answered. And so it's faith-building scriptures like this that we ought to be meditating upon. I'll bet you, though, that if you're like me, a rational person who sometimes finds themselves facing doubts, that even as you read along with me these 5 verses, doubts came to your mind. Yeah, they did to mine a little bit, because you think, wait a second, these promises seem to be so outrageous. It's almost like a blank check that Jesus is giving us here. Surely he didn't mean that. Surely there's something we're missing there. And again, that's just a form of rational thinking that leads to doubting, which, of course, is the opposite of faith. And so we need to stop and examine those doubts and starve our doubts and feed our faith. All right? So let's accentuate the positive and not be so analytical and rational that we miss out on a blessing. People who receive blessings from God in the Bible by faith, if they had gone by rational thinking and analytical thinking, it would have destroyed their faith, right? Sure. When God told the Israelites to circle Jericho 7 times on the 7th day, I mean, think about it. What is the point of this? We've been doing this every day now, and this day we're going to march around it 7 times. You're going to wear us out, and we're going to take this city? Come on. When God told Moses, lift up your staff, I'll split the sea. Anytime God told people to do something that required faith, they had to, discount what no doubt their heads were telling them. Okay? And I can assure you that faith is a fight, and anytime you endeavor to trust God for anything, you can be persuaded in your heart, and you have to be persuaded in your heart, right? But you're still going to be assailed with doubts in your head. And so just because you're facing doubts doesn't mean you are doubting. Right? Have you ever done anything that you were actually scared to do, but you went ahead and did it anyways? In other words, there was fear, but there was also an element of faith, and faith won over because you acted upon your faith, not your fears. You went ahead and did it in trepidation, but you did it. See, that's faith standing up against the fears. All right, think about that, and I'll see you next time.